Hello YouTube, it's the Frog Queen here, and today I'm talking to comic book writer Tyler Chin-Tanner about his newly launched Loved and Lost Anthology Kickstarter. Please be sure to follow the link in the description below to support this Kickstarter. So rather than telling you all about it myself, let me bring you Tyler and he can explain everything you need to know about this comic anthology.
I guess we should start. You want to talk about your new Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. So Loved and Lost. It's launching October 11th. I don't know if this will be up before that or after. Yeah, it's a collection of 9 stories about imperfect love. I wanted to do something about the relationships that don't always work out well. It's not exclusively meaning they break up. A lot of it's ambiguous. They're short stories anyway, so you're kind of left to wonder what exactly will happen. But at the end of the story, sometimes they're just trying to resolve things in a different way with new things on the light, or sometimes they just decide to split and they're just, hey, that's just something I had to learn from, something like that. So yeah, it's something that got away from the sort of perfect romance love or even obsessive love. Just, this is life. We have, more of these relationships than not, most likely, unless you found like your true love right away. Yeah, it's just part of life. I just thought it'd be interesting to write some stories like that.
Right, and so it's nine separate stories?
Yeah, so I wrote the 9 stories. It's different than an anthology where it's completely different creative teams. And this is sort of like a cohesive project in the sense that I wrote the stories. They're completely separate characters and relationships, but they're sort of like, the theme is very cohesive. There's sort of a narrative arc in introductory to ending story. And then a different artist or art team for each one.
Right. I took a look at the list, and right away, of course, I noticed Jason Copeland's name, because I'm a big fan of Jason. I've interviewed him a couple of times in the past for the blog, because I loved his work on Pop. And was it great. Tomorrowers? Yeah. I always say that one wrong, so. I did get to read his contribution, because you sent me that one yesterday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I really like it. It really kind of, because they're in a whiskey den, kind of immediately reminded me a little bit of something like Sideways. Uh-huh. Where I got kind of that feel, and there's that rocky connection for this one character who's supposed to be on a date with someone, and of course, it's one of those forced situations. Yeah. Are you basing some of these stories off of your real life experiences?
I sort of based it off my experience in life more than picking out specific relationships. And none of the male characters are supposed to be me, or women characters or anyone that I've dated or anything like that. But yeah, I tend to write that way, where I'll just take a topic and use a lot of my life experience, but it's not autobiographical. And these things are just things I learned about relationships, or seen it through other people that I know, how their relationships worked out, or just like that one, like that guy, we all know that guy. So I just wanted to do a story with him. I actually thought the bartender was my favorite character, so it's not really seen through her perspective, but I think she's sort of the most interesting, sort of, or more, I don't know, you like her the most, because the guy is just sort of supposed to be one of those guys. But and then the woman he's supposed to be on a date with, it's you trying to figure her out. There's some positive things and there's some negative things. I don't know, people feel bad for her, but then they're kind of yeah, but she's not so great herself. So yeah.
Well, it's right away with that particular story, you get a sense about that woman who he's there to meet, where she's immediately already criticizing the most basic, simplistic of things. So she's already a very critical, displeased person. So you already are oh, have a negative association about this woman, and she just sat down to the table. So. That's one thing that's why I didn't really like her. Because I was she's negative. No wonder she's single, But, well, how did you, have you worked with everybody that's on this anthology previously? Did you get to collaborate with everyone? Was it all new or all people you collaborated with in the past?
It's different. There are definitely some artists that I've worked with in the past that it was fun to work with again, and it also gave me a chance to work with some creators like Jason that I've always just wanted to, and I just dropped him a line and was like, hey, you want to do a short story? You know, sometimes a short story is a better opportunity to work with somebody who has a busy schedule. But the first artist I ever worked with for my series Adrenaline, James Boyle was the artist for that, and he did a story. So it was fun to get him on something again. And then Aisha Sinav, who just did a story with me for the Broken Frontier Anthology, we just went right into another new story for this one. So yeah, it was a mixed bunch.
Cool. So how do you, because everybody kind of lives in a different area, what is it like to actually try and accomplish writing a story like this across so many artists, and whereas everybody is kind of on different sides of the continent and stuff?
Multitasking, small publishing is a lot of multitasking, dealing with artists, getting work in. You know, you open up a Dropbox and you just keep emails going. I didn't want to have too many stories going at once. So there's been some stories that have been done for a couple of years now. There's two of them left that I'm just finishing up now, just before the launch. So that helps, just because even though once the script is done, they're the ones mostly doing the work. There is a lot of managing and editing, and I want to have the script fresh in my mind when the pages come in, so that I know, like, okay, hey, we hit this note, or maybe adjust this a little bit. But even when they're close, like they're in town, I end up emailing with them most of the time anyway. So that's just as easy to do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long has the whole thing, like how much time, I suppose, is the best way to put it? How long have you been working on this story to bring it all together?
This has been quite a long one, because I started writing the first story in 2012. And that was just sort of, hey, I got a funny idea to write about this relationship. It was the scuba diving one. We were on vacation ourselves, and it just sort of like a funny idea. And I did that one as sort of a test one, and then I was like, I wonder if this could be like a series, and I wrote a couple more, and then I was like, I need to do at least like 8, and I ended up writing 9. And then I got some of the artists on it early, like the artist for the scuba diving one, and slowly built its way up. So this has been sort of I've had some projects in between too. And then the Broken Frontier Anthology was the big one last year, and I really had to put things on hold once I got that finished. And then I was like, all right, let's finish up Love and Lost, and, got back in touch with the artists that had wanted to do that, the last remaining stories, and just got it going. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me just a little bit about the Kickstarter, what your expectations are? I did get to read a little bit of what you originally sent me, but I'm sure that it doesn't have all the details of what's involved in the Kickstarter, what kind of money you're looking for to back it, and how you want to do the actual publishing. So that's a whole lot of questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. So, I don't have a ton of expectations. It was hard for me to figure out like just how much I needed, because I've already gotten the artist paid and that going. With the Broken Frontier Anthology, we had this huge goal, which was a lot of stress. It was a $60,000 goal, just because we had all this talent, and we needed to pay for it, and then it was an oversized hardcover, and then shipping those things are expensive. So I wanted to just really par that down a little bit. So the goal is going to be 6,000, which is like 10% of what the Broken Frontier Anthology. I'm hoping we can hit that pretty easily. I mean, that's the idea. That I don't care how much we go over that, but I'm hoping that it's a fairly easy goal to reach. But we'll see. And that should cover the rest of my production, sort of lettering, production fees, and printing, and to ship them out. Anything else, I'll just start making back from what I paid the artists already. And yeah, I don't want to put a lot of stress. As best I can make it a stress-free. Kickstarters are always very overwhelming. But it's important to me that I run a clean campaign, very smooth. I have everything lined up in advance. My media, the organizing for the campaign, the page is all set up, my video. Um, and then, I just want to make sure I make a really nice product and deliver it to the backers, just like with the Broken Frontier Anthology. It's very important to me that everybody's satisfied. That's the key to Kickstarters, that whole project, that like you can't just have a cool idea and a fun campaign and then not deliver and not make the project you made. So I want to have these things done. I want to have them mail it out in February, just a few months away. I want to have them for the Emerald City Comic Con, which is our sort of local, just up the way. That's where I debuted the Broken Frontier Anthology as well. So I think that sort of answers that question. As far as what else is involved, it's not too complicated. I want to have the digital version of the book, which Comixology is helping me again to distribute. So people have a choice to either, PDF download or Comixology. Then, of course, there's the soft cover itself, 150-page full-color comic with the 9 stories. I do have some fun things on top of that. You saw Robbie's cover, right? Robbie Rodriguez's cover. I sent that to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that with a metallic finish because I think it has a nice sort of, will allow for us to make some things really reflective and some foil on it. We have these other mini prints so I got actually 6 artists. 2 of them are stretch goals, but 4 artists. Leila Del Duca de Shutter, Fabian Lele, who's on Jade Street Protection. It's a Black Mass title. Carl Slaminski, who's done some independent stuff, and Sandra Lons, who's doing a Stila book.
Oh, okay.
And then my stretch goals are Toby Cypress, who just did Omega Man, and Trungles, who was on Fresh Romance. What I had them do, just to do something interesting, is they're all going to do an image that fits with a famous love poem or verse. And we've matched that, and that's going to be a mini print set. I don't know, what the interest level will be. I mean, this would be some really nice things to have, but I don't know. Some people might just want the book, or this might appeal to some people, but they're really nice images. It's fun to see them matched up with these classic verses about love, loved and lost, different things. And then the one last thing I'm doing is a book plate. And this one's going to be signed by 12 of the creators. It's going to be me and my wife, who co-edited the book, Robbie, and then the 9 main artists. And I'm going to send that around to everybody and get it signed. And I think that would be kind of neat as sort of something. I'm only going to do 50 of these, but if something that people want, they can get the book plate with signatures of all the main contributors. And that's pretty much covers the rewards.
Nice. Okay. So, is it still planning to start the Kickstarter on the 11th, you said?
Yeah, and it's just going to be 2 weeks.
Okay.
I know everybody does 30 days, which we did for the Broken Frontier Anthology. And in my experience, doing that Kickstarter and seeing other people's, there's always like a lag time in the middle. Like, you want to jump off to a good start, get all your, word out, people pushing it hard for a good start, and then you want to finish strong. But in that middle, there just seems to be, it's just too much time.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
I you don't want to lose momentum, and that happens a lot with Kickstarters, I find.
Momentum is key, especially since they have like an algorithm system where, the projects that go to the top are the ones that are having the most activity.
Yeah.
So if you have a period where you're kind of in the middle, where everybody else has heard of it, but you're not in like the final week yet, you can end up just sort of falling down this list on their algorithm. So I wanted to try just cutting that out. It'd be a lot less stressful for me to have to only deal with this for 2 weeks. I can get right into finishing the book. So yeah, October 11th through the 25th. Hopefully that's enough time. I realize people like to do the 30 days because they're like, oh, what if we could get more people during that time, or if somebody doesn't hear about it. But in my experience, it just causes more people to procrastinate if it's a long time. Get the people in the first week, get the people in the last week. That's all you need.
They have too much time to think about it.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And then forget, unfortunately, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the Broken, just to throw that, yeah, Broken Frontier, we were on there for 30 days. I still had people the week after we finished, like, oh, I forgot to back, or like, how can you forget to back? Like, I don't have to tell you. Like, you can buy the book when it comes out, but I can't like add you on afterwards. So
Yeah, doesn't quite work that way, right? Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Sure, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a very successful campaign and everything will go like right off from the bat.
Yeah.
Come out strong and
yeah.
strong kind of thing. And keep me up to date on what's happening in the future so that I can, if you want, you can come back on the show to talk about future projects.
Yeah, I love it. That'd be great.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Bye.